Good morning, all you cool cats and kittens out there. You'll get that if you watch the documentary. All right, so I am unable to meet with you live today, but I wanted to upload this video for everyone regarding prose analysis essay notes. So the big thing that we found out Thursday night that I all posted to Google Classroom is that your exam will be 45 minutes and it will be the FRQ2 question, which is the prose analysis, which I think is really exciting for everyone because that's one of the most that you are very strong in, that we've been doing a lot of practicing on. And even with our practice on poetry, that will only help to translate to the prose analysis. So what I just have here is a very quick slideshow just to kind of remind you of some tips and tricks. And then I have a short excerpt that I'm going to ask you all to read and think about in terms of how you would be responding. I'm going to have you kind of respond in a Google Doc. And then Thursday, I would love for us to be able to share that out with everyone and do kind of like a small group analysis and evaluation of everyone's writing. So again, in terms of the analysis essay notes, please make sure you're reading the prompt carefully. If you want to take some notes down, if you're doing this on the computer, you want to take some notes down, write down keywords. Make sure you understand what the prompt is asking you to do. That is key. Obviously, you have 40 minutes to write the essay. You have 5 minutes to upload. And I know that is a very limiting time constraint, but if you don't respond to the question being asked, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So please make sure you're reading the prompt carefully. And please make sure you're reading the passage slowly and annotating as you go. Now, what, again, will probably be a help is to have a composition notebook with you so you can take your annotations, put down, but please make sure, take your time to read that passage. Obviously, again, we have a very specific time limit, but if you rush through that passage in the beginning, you're only going to be forced to have to go back in it more. And it's kind of like running. Those of you that have ever done track or cross country, you don't want to start off at the beginning sprinting because you're going to tire yourself out very quickly, and it'll hurt yourself in the long run. So read the passage, take your time, annotate. As it says here, mark and label literary techniques, mark patterns of details, images, words, rhymes, notes, mark anything that stands out to you and put that down in your composition book. Okay, and keep in mind, you're coming back to that prompt, okay? As you write, and again, just to remind you all, your introduction doesn't have to be a full paragraph. It could be one sentence, which is obviously your thesis statement. Please make sure you're including that author's full name, and it will be provided to you. Please make sure you're including the title of the passage, again, provided to you. And please make sure you're providing your thesis, including the techniques that you're going to be using. And I just kind of threw this on the bottom. Don't try to make this flashy. You don't need to make this flashy. You don't need to come up with, I think what a lot of you are used to from your many years of high school, of that like catchy hook. Don't worry about it. Just jump right in, like you're jumping right into the pool. This is an example of a one-sentence thesis from book Belinda. And as you could see, I said, in her novel Belinda, Maria Edgeworth uses a limited point of view and personification of the setting to characterize Clarence Harvey as a stereotypical pompous intellect, thus driving the plot and challenging the reader's understanding of his blossoming relationship with Belinda. So I've, in my thesis statement, have the title of the book, I have the author, I'm stating what I'm choosing to look at and choosing to analyze, and I'm stating the deeper purpose. Please note, and again, I think this, I want you to do what you're comfortable with, but also understand you're working with a very small time frame. I'm choosing to, in this pretend thesis statement, mention 2 figurative language devices. I could have done 3. I could have done 1. I am choosing to write 2. So I want you to, when you get your prompt and when you get your question, ask yourself, what can you comfortably analyze and go in depth with within this time frame? And I talked to some of you about it. Some of you in your thesis statements mentioned 3 things, but then you only got to 2 really well. Be cognizant of your strengths. Don't try to go and, be an overachiever, because the name of the game here is, can you do it well? So even if I chose to talk only about point of view, and I spent that entire essay on just point of view, as long as I do a good job on it, that's fine. So again, don't feel locked into that. I have to have 3 different 3 different figurative language devices to talk about. 1's fine, 2 is fine. Know your limits, know your speed. As you write, you can choose to structure your paragraph based on the different techniques, so different figurative language, or by the different parts of the prompt. Your prose prompt will not be very long. It's going to be less than a page. You'll probably notice maybe one shift in perspective. You'll notice a change from, maybe thinking and description to dialogue. Again, do what you feel is comfortable in your wheelhouse. If you find that it is easier to structure your writing going from figurative language piece to figurative language piece, so from simile to metaphor, or from, rhyme scheme to personification, that's fine. However, if you find that it is easier for you to start at the beginning of the prompt, and that be a paragraph, and then you go to the middle of the prompt, and that be a paragraph, and then you talk about the end of the prompt, and that be a paragraph, that's fine too. The big key is, once you choose one style, stick with it. Next, again, I think a lot of you are improving on this. Use a lot of embedded quotations. The text is right there in front of you. Put them in, put the words in, put the phrases in. Always come back and tie down your analysis with actual textual evidence. Use a lot. And I'm sorry, those are my birds in the background. Hi, they're saying hello. They're saying hello. While you write, another tip, no first person. You don't need to say I, me, and my opinion. Obviously, it's your opinion, you're writing this thing. So try to keep it professional, no first person. Don't address the author by his or her first name, unless you know the author, which I'm going to say none of you do. Keep it professional. Embedded quotes, again, are a must, so please make sure you're embedding them. Don't try to analyze the technique you do not understand. And again, this goes back to the prompt. Some of the prompts will suggest you look at the tone or the allusions. But I'm telling you right now, that is a suggestion. A, you don't have to do those. And B, if you're not comfortable with one of the literary devices or figurative language devices, don't try to analyze it. Really work within your wheelhouse. Even if the essay says, oh, you might want to talk about imagery and tone, but what you see is personification, do personification. Those are suggestions. You're not bound to that. And lastly, no excited examples, but I will say there's a caveat with here. When you're trying to hit that sophistication point and you wish to, at the end of your essay, connect the overall theme to something else that you read, that's fine. In addition, if you're discussing allusions and you're choosing to connect that allusion to what is being alluded to, that's fine too. But don't rely on outside examples to prove your meat of your essay. And conclusion, again, don't feel like you have to regurgitate your thesis. You don't have to summarize your body in the conclusion. They've already read it. I would end probably with an embedded quote or a one-sentence closing that focuses on the greater connection to our world or to the importance of this theme in the understanding of humanity. That would be my goal. I would, within this 40 minutes, again, give you about 10 minutes to read and take notes, 25 minutes to write, and make sure you have 5 minutes at the end to go back and proofread. And I said that to a couple of you. Some of you mentioned 3 different figurative language devices that you were going to be talking about. and then you only got to 2, go back and cross out that third one that you're not going to talk about. So please make sure you leave some wiggle room to proofread your work. Obviously, you're going to be working very fast. You're going to be kind of just throwing down everything that comes to your mind. And you might have made like a super simple mistake, but if you don't catch it, it might hurt you. So that is that. And this is what I'm going to be uploading again once I am done with this Zoom. This is a section from Their Eyes Were Watching God. I'm just going to zoom it out a little bit. This is an excerpt from Their Eyes Were Watching God. I'm asking you to read this and analyze, here's the key, how the author portrays Janie's complex attitude toward her husband, Joe. Notice the word here, complex. That means, obviously, not simple. So words like kind, nice, mean, loving. Those are simple words and simple terms. That's not what we're looking for here, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm asking, how does the author, Zora Neale Hurston, portray, show Janie's complex attitude? So this means the attitude that she's showing towards her husband might be contradicting or, challenging. Here are also some suggestions. The prompt may be phrased like this, but keep in mind you're really being asked not how, but what is this complex relationship? And what that pretty much means is you can talk about how, Zora Neale Hurston uses personification and imagery to portray the complex attitude. That's the how, but we need the what. I need to know what the complex relationship is before you can analyze it. Without that, your essay is incomplete. So focus on the what first. Ask yourself, okay, what is this relationship? What is this complicated, complex relationship? Once you get that answer, then you can go to the how. I also put for you, in order to write a strong essay, please make sure you're determining based on only this scene what the complex attitude is. The suggested devices are not the star of this essay. Your argument is the star of the essay. And again, please don't forget to quote from the passage, no more than 9 words at a time, and to keep your discussion to this scene only. I imagine that none of you are familiar with this book, and so that's actually going to work in your favor because you won't be able to pull from other sections. So you have the passage here, not very long. I've also kind of copied down the grading, so the thesis, evidence and commentary, and sophistication. What I am asking you all to do is to read through this prompt and draft that essay. Again, doesn't have to be pretty, but I want to see what we're working with, and to turn this in by the beginning of our window time on Thursday. So by 11:30 on Thursday. Turn it in, and then what we are going to be doing is I'm going to be putting you into small groups of whoever shows up, and we'll be sharing each other's work to each other, and we will be discussing whether or not we've hit the thesis point, we've hit the evidence and commentary point, and if we've hit the sophistication point. And if so, how? And if not, what can we do to improve? So please make sure when you respond to this, again, I would recommend keeping to that 40-minute time frame so it's as realistic as possible. Turn it in to me by 11:30 on Thursday, and then we will work in a Google Hangouts. I'll group you guys into small groups of who you'd like to be with. You'll share out, and then we'll do a small conversation. If you have questions, please email me with anything at all. I'm here to help, and we will talk more in depth on Thursday. All right, thanks for everyone. I miss you all. Be safe, be healthy, and I'll talk to you soon.